Come, let us explore how ancient masters revealed Buddha nature, and it changed everything. Together, let us relaxingly recite a reoccurring phrase in both Mahayana as well as Tantric literature is Tathagata, or Buddha nature. This charming Iron Age turn of phrase hints that enlightenment is our birthright and easily attained, without requiring heroic effort or noble sacrifice. Sounds great, sign me up, but the mystery remains, how is one to realize it? One of the many advantages of living in this age is that medical professionals have access to sophisticated imaging technology of which the ancients could have never conceived. Functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI studies, have revealed that it is our sympathetic nervous system that is the seat of mindfulness, or sati, our parasympathetic nervous system that is the seat of meditation, or samadhi, and our anterior cingulate gyrus that is the seat of our loving kindness, or metta. It is these three structures that comprise our Buddha nature, but a villain lurks. Just as the Buddha's foil was his foolish cousin Devadatta, so too is the team of our prefrontal cortex, the seat of analysis and focus, and our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression, the opponents to the mechanism of our Buddha nature. I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable. Mechanism. Don't want to sound like the villain in Megamind. Let's continue. Just as Jack the Ripper taught us that a surgeon's scalpel could be used to take lives as well as save them, so too could both the prefrontal cortex as well as the amygdala be either used or abused. The solution to this dilemma is twofold. The easy method to strike the match of enlightenment already in our grasp is to allow our sympathetic nervous system to mindfully do its thing during our inhalations, and to let our parasympathetic nervous system to meditatively do its thing during our exhalations, thus sitting in formal mindfulness and meditation once every 12 hours or so. We set space to live from our empathetic anterior cingulate gyrus effortlessly and automatically. A delightful fringe benefit of this is the manner in which our choices, utterances, and deeds could begin to flow from the right or effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, which is the key to the sustainable use of our analytical prefrontal cortex as well as our primal amygdala. This is why the Buddha taught mindfulness and meditation. Having completed our opening lesson, the time has come to shift gears. It is Obi-Wan Kenobi Wednesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Renegade Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. We turn now to the latest iteration of very easy meditation practice text, or sadhana if you're nasty. Together let us relaxingly recite. Whatever comes, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Whatever stays, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Whatever goes, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Welcome to the first quarter of this morning's live stream. Upon the tip of our left index finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite or real or imagine subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the crown region of our head. So, it's good to have a hook to hang our hat on, isn't it? That's what Kondro Chagdud used to say. So, let's review the essence of mindfulness. Every time we inhale, we are already wired to automatically access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. This sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way, to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which is the polar opposite of concentration, as well as the rigidity and controlling tendencies that support it. Well, what are we to do with that which we notice? We meditate. You see, every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are already wired to automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third as well as the upper third of the same spinal cord. Our parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. So there is this mechanism in place. We could foolishly oppose it, we can continue to oppose it, or we can condition ourselves to cooperate with it. How do we perform the latter? By silently and mentally reciting the verbs noticing and relaxing in harmony with our respective inhalations and exhalations. Together as a team, let us do so right now. And remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist recitation, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. It'll take me about 8 minutes to notice the question. Please don't take it personally. Together as a team, let us relaxingly recite an excerpt from the vast expanse of the diamond-like mine, known in Tibet as Dorje Sempa Numkatche. Composed about 14 centuries ago by the Buddhist reformer Prahe Vajra, translated from the Tibetan by Chogyal Namkhai Norbu, translated from the Italian by Adriano Clemente, adapted and amplified by yours truly. Let us relaxingly recite this. We'll recite 4 repetitions of this passage. Outer and inner are both. The outer is the inner. The profound is not an object of understanding, not even a part of it. Existence is only a name, the power of mistake. Thus one remains separate from the equality of meditation. In the Hebrew Bible, in the book of Ecclesiastes, we read, "There is nothing new under the sun." It is true with wisdom, but it is also true with folly. Back in the 80s and 90s, it became very popular to equate mindfulness with concentration. But that was a mistake. They are different mechanisms, regardless of how we label them. So these people, most of them were sincere in their error, would teach that we're supposed to only notice this sight, this sound, this sensation, this place, etc. But the Buddha taught the contrary. The Buddha taught that mindfulness was the 7th enlightenment factor. It was the 7th fold of the 8-fold path and the first enlightenment factor. And it means being completely vulnerable to whatever we notice, whether that which we notice is external or internal or physical or mental or pleasurable or painful or interesting or boring or glorious or grotesque. Whenever we relax into our exhalation, whatever duality of outer or inner we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could both feel fleetingly less tantalizing, less permanent, less defining, and less graspable. There's nothing mystical or magical. It's just the way that we are. Our central nervous system has evolved. Let's continue. Outer and inner are both. The outer is the inner. The profound is not an object of understanding, not even a part of it. The wisdom the Buddha offers us is not the cleverness to create a longer lasting light bulb, although that is terribly handy, but the wisdom of letting go. It is already wired into us by evolution. Every time we relax, thanks to our autonomic nervous system, we are already wired to physically relax and mentally release that which we noticed during the previous inhalation. And yet, Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, but not in the fun, tingly way. What could this suckiness look like? It can look like people being indoctrinated to not only practice being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, but to look down their nose and sneer at those who choose to be flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. In an effort to sort of wake us up from that habit energy, we're told that we cannot believe our way to enlightenment, nor can we contemplate our way to enlightenment. We can only relax our way to enlightenment. Perhaps that is why the Buddha insisted in the penultimate passage of his middling discourse on the four bases of mindfulness that one could master his path, one could master enlightenment in as little as 7 days. Let's continue. Outer and inner are both. The outer is the inner. The profound is not an object of understanding, not even a part of it. Existence is only a name, the power of mistake. Thus one remains separate from the equality of meditation. It can be so. Another Buddhist reformer, Nagarjuna of South India, taught that there are two truths. The truth that we perceive as we breathe in, we call that conventional, and the truth that we experience as we breathe out, we call that ultimate. And just as a bird requires both its wings to take to the skies, similarly, we need both the conventional and the ultimate to attain enlightenment. We need both perception and release in order to be happy, healthy, well-adjusted adults. We need to be able to perceive both duality and non-duality viscerally and easily in harmony with the cycles of breathing. So as we breathe in, we mistakenly label all manner of things. And that's okay. We are wired to do so. What is the solution to being separate from the equality of meditation? Simply cooperating with our autonomic nervous system to physically relax and mentally release during our exhalation. Now that we have a better bead on what the message is of this passage, let us recite it an additional 2 times. Outer and inner are both. The outer is the inner. The profound is not an object of understanding, not even a part of it. Existence is only a label, the power of mistake. Thus one remains separate from the equality of meditation. Outer and inner are both. The outer is the inner. The profound is not an object of understanding, not even a part of it. Existence is only a label, the power of mistake. Thus one remains separate from the equality of meditation. Welcome to the second quarter of this morning's live stream. Upon the tip of our little finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite or real or imagine subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Let us review mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception. You know, sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, including the full spectrum of emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings. What are we to do with that which we notice? We meditate. You see, every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, we're already wired to physically relax and mentally release. If we are already wired, why do we meditate? Because due to a quirk of evolution, we're also wired to actively oppose the healing actions of our autonomic nervous system, which presents a question. What could we do to better cooperate with our autonomic nervous system? And the answer is simple. All we gotta do is silently and mentally recite the verbs noticing and relaxing in harmony with our respective inhalations and exhalations. Together, let us practice right now. Together, let us relaxingly recite 4 repetitions of the 31st passage. The outer and inner samayas abide in the nature of the aggregates and sense bases. Since in the 3 times no one is ever separate from it, there is no need to use the word samaya. Those on the path of being rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel are very, very uptight about vows, thinking it is vows that make them righteous. Well, the truth is, it's vows that make them rigid. You see, the original Buddhism was as simple as the Eightfold Path, 50% of which pertained to loving kindness. The essence of morality as taught by the Buddha is simply loving kindness. Kindness of intention, kindness of communication, kindness of behavior, kindness even of commerce. As was explored in the second verse of this treatise, the more we practice mindfulness and meditation authentically and consistently, the more we can't help but experience the highest love, which is the spontaneous and uncontrived, automatic byproduct of that mindfulness and meditation. Therefore, the essence of all tantric samaya, the essence of all vows, is simply the kindness that is the effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. Therefore, this kindness, which is the essence of all vows, is as natural to one who practices mindfulness and meditation as it is to have a body, feelings, appraisals, impulses, and awareness. It is as natural as having eyes, ears, skin, flesh, tongue, and nose. Thus, since it's already this kindness that is the essence of all righteousness, it's already baked into the cake of our body and mind. There is no need to cling to it or worry about it. In fact, beware of people who try to manipulate you through fear to quote the boys from Rage Against the Machine, they're your enemy. Together. The outer and inner tantric vows or samayas abide in the nature of the aggregates and sense bases. Since in the 3 times no one is ever separate from it, there is no need to ever use the word samaya. 3 times is just a poetic way of saying past, present, and future. And that's just a present way of saying all time. So once again, let us not miss the forest for the trees and not get hung up in a literal interpretation of the figurative. Here we go. The outer and inner tantric vows or samayas abide in the nature of the aggregates and sense bases. Since in the 3 times no one is ever separate from it, there is no need to ever use the word samaya. Let us take this a step further. We're already wired to notice sight, sound, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like during each inhalation. We're already wired to notice our body or our feelings of pleasure or pain or our appraisal of intensity of pleasure and pain or our survival impulses or our awareness of all the above. It's already baked in. We don't have to force those things. Let's continue. The outer and inner tantric vows or samayas abide in the nature of the aggregates and sense spaces. Since in the three times no one is ever separate from it, there is no need to ever use the word samaya. Welcome to the third quarter of this morning's live stream. Upon the tip of our left middle finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite or real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the heart region of our chest. Let us review mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are already wired to tune in to our sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to help us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. What are we to do with all this different stuff that we can notice? We meditate. But how do we do that? During each exhalation, we are already wired to tune in to our parasympathetic nervous system, which has evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. So, how can we cooperate with these neurological structures? Simple. During each, we could silently and mentally recite the verbs noticing and relaxing during our respective inhalations and exhalations. Together, let's do that right now. One moment. Let us relaxingly recite 4 repetitions of the 30-second passage. This is our final repetition of this morning, so let's make the most of it. Immovable, it is the symbol of the body. Unshakable, it is wisdom. Not taking hold of anything, it has no self. Not rejecting anything, it has the equality that transcends words. Immovable, it is the symbol of the body. So here, a symbol is a reference to Mahamudra. And we're being told that there's nothing mysterious about Mahamudra. The essence of Mahamudra is simply noticing and relaxing. So as we relax into our exhalation, whatever body we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Any good English teacher will remind us that a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. Therefore, we have to ask, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could be tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand? Not taking hold of anything, it has no self. Not rejecting anything, it has the equality that transcends words. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less tantalizing, less permanent, less defining, less graspable. Immovable, it is the symbol of the body. Unshakable, it is wisdom. Not taking hold of anything, it has no self. Not rejecting anything, it is the equality that transcends words. So we've already explored how we evolved to notice dualities during our inhalation. That is a survival mechanism, which is really, really handy. It's important to make the distinction between the little red berries that are full of antioxidants or the little red berries that will kill you. So distinctions are important, but as we relax into our exhalation, food and poison both seem to share the same non-graspable nature. Now, does that mean we're supposed to eat poison? No. It just means we've discovered a tool with which to be a little bit less neurotic together. Immovable, it is the symbol of the body. Unshakable, it is wisdom. Not taking hold of anything, it has no self. Not rejecting anything, it has the equality that transcends words. So, for instance, if we were a Paleolithic clan, we might use poison berries not to eat, but, as self-defense against predators who are trying to kill us. Not out of malice, just, out of self-defense. So just because something might not have one specific use does not mean I won't have an ancillary or peripheral use. And the more we embrace the wisdom of letting go, the bigger our world is, the more possibilities present themselves to us. Welcome to the final quarter of this morning's live stream. Upon the tip of our left ring finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite or real or imagine subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the navel region of our mid-abdomen. If you've just tuned in, how's about a quick review? Let's begin with mindfulness. Every time we inhale, thanks to our sympathetic nervous system, we are already wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice dualities such as lack and boon, pain and bliss, scorn and praise, shame and fame. What are we to do with such dualities? We meditate. You see, every time we exhale, we are already wired, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, for both physical relaxation as well as mental release. Now, how do we sidestep the mistake of opposing or resisting our autonomic nervous system? Simple. All we do is silently and mentally recite the verbs noticing and relaxing in harmony with our respective inhalations and exhalations. Let us do this together for approximately 6 minutes or so. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 and a quarter hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. If you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.